Hello, Tennessee Voices viewers and listeners. This is David Plazas, the Opinion and Engagement Director for the USA Today Network Tennessee and the Tennessean. This is a special edition of the Tennessee Voices video podcast where I've talked to candidates for the May 3rd, 2022 Davidson County primary. We've invited all candidates to come, and those who have accepted our invitation, we're having on these brief segments. But I want to introduce Andra Hedrick, who is a candidate for probate judge, Circuit Court Division 7. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about your candidacy and your decision to run.
Yes, so I'm a first-time candidate. I tell people I'm a probate lawyer first, politician second. I am running because our sitting judge, Randy Kennedy, who we've had for 19 years, he decided to retire. So it's an open seat. And I'm one of the lawyers in his court who have been doing this kind of work exclusively for a long, long time. And it was his decision to retire that brought me out to do this and to run for the seat.
Well, that's excellent. Tell people who are not familiar with probate law what exactly that is, and if you are elected to judge, what kind of cases will you be handling?
Sure. Probate court is a very specialized court. So, you know, when you think of what goes on in a courtroom, you tend to think about divorces or criminal or car wreck cases or contract disputes. That's not what we do at all in probate court. We do cases involving people who have died. So we handle estates and inheritance cases where there are wills, trusts, powers of attorney, guardianships, conservatorships, name changes, and emancipations. I know that's a long list, but it's what we do. And you know, the official name of the court is not probate court. It actually is Circuit Court Division 7. But what happens is when people go to the courthouse to file their papers to initiate and need help in these areas of law, the clerk's office will assign those cases only to Circuit Court Division 7. So commonly in the industry, we all call it probate court, but on the ballot, it will say Circuit Court Division 7.
Thank you very much for that. You know, the issue of conservatorship has come up quite a bit because of the Free Britney movement. And obviously it's not just Britney Spears, but this is certainly lawyers that I've talked to and articles that we've run have really shined a light in terms of what that is and whether or not there needs to be any reforms on that. And obviously, as a candidate for judge, I won't ask you on the policy angle of it, but just to ask you what exactly are the issues that create this kind of tension and conflict in that area? Yeah.
So the Free Britney movement is really just a tiny piece of the conservatorships we see. And that's, by the reports, it seems like that's a case of, you know, mental health issue. And certainly conservatorships are there for folks who need some help in decision making because of a mental health problem. But your typical one we see are age-related illnesses. So, you know, parent or grandparent who has dementia, is in a nursing facility, is unable to make financial and healthcare decisions for themselves. The probate court is there to appoint someone to make those decisions for them and oversee the process. The biggest issue that you see, well, there are three issues that come up. One is a conservator even needed, right? Because we are talking about taking away decision-making powers of an individual. So we have to have medical proof and we have to have evidence that that's even necessary. And assuming you get past that question, the next question is, who is best suited to be the conservator? And that was an issue in Britney's, of course, right? The father was doing it and then she wanted someone independent. And so, you know, who should be appointed is the next question. And then the third thing that we see is more related to overseeing the process. So once you know that you need a conservator, you pick who it's going to be. The court's role is to oversee how they're carrying out those duties. And so we have annual accountings that have to be filed. We have a whole staff of people who review those accountings. They flag expenditures that just don't seem right. So there is accountability, and that's part of the court's role, is to monitor those things, make sure that the conservator is not stealing, mismanaging, self-dealing, and to provide a place to remedy that situation when it does occur. So the probate court is very important in terms of keeping that clean and really affecting people's private decisions, their property rights. We play a very vital role in that process.
And for anyone who hasn't written your, thank you for that. For anyone who hasn't seen your survey answers, I definitely am going to have this linked in there. But you mentioned that what distinguishes you from your opponents, there are three candidates in this, are your experience, the fact that you teach it, the fact, could you talk a little bit more about what you said and what distinguishes you?
Sure. My entire career has been in probate law. So I stepped out of the gate as a young lawyer, brought to Nashville, hired by the two leading Tennessee probate lawyers that we had at the time, Jack Robinson Sr. and Jeff Mobley. They hired me. They had lots of probate work to do, so they got me running doing this many, many years ago, and it's all I've done ever since. I actually co-authored the leading book in Tennessee on probate law. It's called Pritchard on Wills and Administration of Estates. I teach probate law to Nashville School of Law students. I'm involved in legislation that through the Tennessee Bar Association, legislation that we propose to the General Assembly to either improve the probate statutes or tweak them. You know, we may have some inconsistencies in the law, so we need to try to square that up and make sure that we have consistent, predictable outcomes. You know, I teach seminars. I'm deep into every service organization related to estate and probate law in Tennessee. And it's just been my life's work. So it's dedication. It's 24 years of doing this full time, not dabbling in other areas of law, not going to other courts. This is my one true calling in the law. And I'm just looking for an opportunity to transition to doing it as a lawyer representing clients. I want to be doing it as a judge, helping people in Davidson County Probate Court. So it's a natural transition for me, and it's why I'm doing this. And, you know, a lot of people just want to be judges. I don't want to be just any kind of judge. I want to be judge of the probate court, and that's a very important distinction.
Your background is you went to school at Indiana University and then also University of Memphis School of Law. Tell us a little bit about those transitions, because yeah, I'm from the Midwest myself, so I understand the change going from there to Tennessee. How was that for you, and what led you to stay in Tennessee all this time?
Sure. Well, I grew up in South Central Indiana in a very rural community where essentially everyone's working class, and you either are in a farm environment or you work at a factory. I mean, that's most of the folks I grew up with. I went to Memphis for law school, and I went to undergrad at Indiana University, so Bloomington, Indiana, you know, where you play basketball. But so I went to Memphis for law school, and when I graduated, I had been, well, during law school, I had worked for the probate court in Memphis. That's how I got the bug initially. But after law school, I got an opportunity to work for David Farmer of the Tennessee Court of Appeals. He was a judge on the Court of Appeals for many years, and he brought me in to be his law clerk. I stayed with him for 2 years until it was time to enter into private practice, and that's when I moved to Nashville for a job. So, you know, what kept me here and for the rest of my life is school, a job, opportunities. I met my husband here. He's a Tennessee man. So that, you know, that brought me to Nashville 22 years ago.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And
It doesn't hurt that it's warmer here.
yes, indeed. The winters are definitely much more mild here than they are. But I want to thank you so much, Andra Hedrick, Probate Judge, Circuit Court Division 7. It's been delightful to talk to you. And please, everybody, make sure to go out to vote, whether it's early by April 28th, and May 3rd is election day. Any final words of wisdom or thoughts for the audience before we conclude?
Yeah, I want to encourage people to check their the new voter registration cards that have been coming in the mail just these last couple of days. Many people have been reassigned to different polling places. So if you come out to any of the 11 early sites that are available through Thursday of this week, you can vote at any of them. If you choose to wait till election day on Tuesday, May 3rd, please check and make sure you're going to the correct polling site because it may have changed. And unfortunately, they're a little bit late in the game and notifying people about those changes.
Well, thank you very much. May you stay well and healthy, and best of success to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to talk to you.